Happy holidays. My name is Leah Rosenthal. I'm the Artistic Director at La Jolla Music Society. Joining me for an informal chat is our new President and CEO, Todd Schultz. Hi, Todd.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today, and I know that I can speak for the staff that we are thrilled to welcome you aboard. Your tremendous wealth of arts management experience, your passion and knowledge for the arts, and your commitment to the San Diego community makes you really the perfect choice to lead our organization. So thank you for joining me again. And I'd love to just start asking you a few questions.
Thank you. I'm happy to do it.
Great.
Looking forward to it.
So before we jump into work-related questions, like many of us who work in the arts, we were bit by the arts bug at a really early age. I know for me, I was, and then I went to school for voice performance, but realized quickly that my life was really behind the scenes. And I'm curious if you had a similar story.
Yeah, so I would credit my parents. They had my brother and me taking piano lessons starting the age of 6, and doing public speaking contests at the same age. And both of those really prepared me for my entire career. And so I'm really grateful. At the time, I may not have been so happy about it, but it really prepared me for a lot of things that I did in my career. And my mother actually has an extraordinary singing voice. And hearing that as a child, I think sort of put an appreciation in my ear for vocal performance. And so that drove me forward. What really turned a corner for me about my career was in college. I was studying marketing through the journalism mass communications department, and then German through the modern languages department. And I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do after college, but I did discover that with a CD player in about 5 minutes, I could convert one of my fraternity brothers from an actively opposed person to attending a classical concert into somebody who might. And I understood that marketing and promoting the arts was just a little bit of education to tip somebody over into being there. And I decided immediately that's what I want to do on a mass scale. And that's what I've done for the last 30 years, I hope.
So how did you end up out west? Was that one of your first jobs?
I first went to the Atlanta Opera and worked in marketing there, became the director of marketing and PR. San Diego Opera recruited me, and when I flew out in January and saw palm trees, that was not a difficult move.
Sure.
And then LA Opera actually called, and I had a wonderful time there. I actually learned a huge amount at that organization. All of that was in marketing. And then my switch to development happened when I came to the Old Globe. And I will say I really believe in the importance of that financial support for the artists on the stage. They cannot do their work, they cannot flex their muscles artistically without a solid financial foundation. And that drives me every day to do my work. The other thing that is really inspiring to me is actually seeing people in an audience watching a concert and responding to it. I find myself, partially because I'm in administration, it's part of my job, but I find myself really observant of the people around me and how they're responding. And that absolutely excites me. Nothing is more thrilling than to walk into the house at the back of a hall and see a sold out sea of heads of attendees watching a performance. And that's drives me forward.
I have a similar experience as well when you get to know the artists on a personal level. And then it takes on a whole nother dimension when you're watching them on stage, as if you're watching a
Yeah.
friend, and you get nervous for them, or you notice if they were working on a
Right.
specific passage, and then you're waiting for them to play it. And I said, you can never go back. Once you traverse that invisible wall into the other side of the stage, it is incredible, but also
Yeah.
it's just different than as someone that's going in and doesn't work behind the scenes, and it's pretty magical.
It's the humanity of the
Yeah.
work. It's at the end of a concert, you feel like those
Absolutely.
performers, their personality, their quirks, their what drives them. You get a sense of who they are in the way they play
Mhm.
that music, and you get a sense of who the composer was. I mean, it really is a reflection of who we are as
Mhm.
people, and I find that tremendously interesting. I am fascinated by comparative listening from recording to
Mhm.
recording to see, well, how does this pianist play the piece
Mhm.
versus this pianist? Because it tells you a lot about who they are.
Mhm.
You understand the work
Mhm.
better.
Mhm.
I'm
And you
and
can
I
hear
that's
that.
what I love.
Yeah, sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's what I love to see in the eyes of the
Mhm.
audience, is them responding to that,
Absolutely.
to what's happening on the stage.
And so you mentioned your work at the Globe, at the Opera. I know you were also at the San Diego Symphony. What is it about San Diego and this arts community that keeps you here?
There are a lot of people I really, really love in San Diego, and I've gotten to know them over a long time. It feels like a small town to me, and and I love to go to any performing arts event in San Diego because I know that I'm going to run across people in the lobby whom I
Mhm.
know, which makes it even more fun at intermission or after the show to talk to people about what you've seen. Um, I think it's a really rich community in the arts because there's a long tradition of musical performances and theater performances, and so there is an audience that is fairly sophisticated and knowledgeable
Mhm.
about what they're hearing. But what also is interesting to me is there's a lot
Mhm.
of people who aren't, and finding those people and turning them on to what we do is exciting.
Absolutely. So now the most important question. So what drew you to LJMS, to La Jolla Music Society?
Well,
What
20
ex
years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So 20 years, you can fit it. Was there more to the
No, I was
question?
gonna say what excites you the most about LJMS, but it sounds like you already know the answer to that.
Yeah. 20 years ago, I discovered uh, Summerfest for myself. And I love the intimacy of one, two, three musicians on the stage working together in a quiet hall for 500 people hearing them perform. I also love a big, loud, Mahler symphony. So my taste runs the
Mhm.
gamut in that aspect. Um, but what I also like about La Jolla Music Society is my musical taste runs pretty broad. I like Latin music, I like country music. I actually was playing a piece by Meatloaf last night on the piano.
Which
Well,
song?
actually, I think it's Simon. Heaven
Okay.
Can Wait.
I
I
love
think
Meatloaf. Don't disparage Meatloaf, people. He's a
I
gorgeous
know.
voice.
And his music, he has a fantastic
Yeah.
songbook, so really
Mhm.
good stuff. It's not strophic like a lot of the other pop
Mhm.
singers. He doesn't repeat
Mhm.
it. It's interestingly through
Yeah,
composed, and so
beautiful.
anyway, but my taste runs pretty broad, and La Jolla Music Society produces a broad range
Mhm.
of work and presents a broad range of performers, and that I think is interesting too.
Absolutely. And with that and our history, we had the momentous occasion of opening our new home, the Conrad Prebys Performing Arts Center that we fondly call the Conrad. And with that, we can take exactly what you said and expand on that even further and connect with new and more diverse audiences. So it's something that we're thrilled to see how far we can go and how much more we can connect with the community. And so I'm curious, what role do you see the Conrad playing, or how do you see us developing our role in the community?
Yeah, so when I first heard that La Jolla Music Society was planning to build the facility, I immediately thought, what a great asset for the community. It will add to the opportunities for performance spaces. It adds a new size. There aren't a lot of other spaces that size with that kind of acoustic in the area. And so it adds a different kind of opportunity for different kind of performance. And I particularly like the intimate feel of a space like that. I actually think the sky's the limit. I think there are a lot of opportunities to the organization. Um, Anyone working in this business is standing on the shoulders of the people who came before them. And La Jolla Music Society has done a lot of really, really great work. And our task is to see what we can do to build upon that, to find the next level of performance, the next, kind of work that we'll be doing.
You know, I don't envy the task at hand for you and for all of us as you join us in one of the hardest times, I think, in our lives that we'll experience, and what the arts has experienced from COVID, and the devastation that this virus has had on the arts world, but also the innovation and the passion and the drive that we see from all of these organizations to survive, to create, and so it's been incredible to connect with agents and artists on a deeper level, but also, one of the hardest things again that we've ever gone through. And I'm curious how you see us after you join in after the new year, how we navigate this challenge moving forward. And it looks like things are going to get better, as news on the vaccine, but I'm curious what you see the challenges are that lie ahead.
First of all, I think what's most heartening is that every study that I've seen has shown that philanthropy is up this year, that philanthropists understand the importance of supporting the organizations they care about. And that is tremendously encouraging. I know that this year, most nonprofit organizations are surviving solely because of the people who support them through contributions. That's not a pitch, although anyone listening can make a gift. It's just the truth. And we are going to rely on philanthropy until we get over the hump. So that has been heartening, because I've been extremely encouraged to see people stepping up to the plate as donors to support the organizations they love. As far as going forward, the game plan changes every day. As we open the newspaper in the morning or turn on our computers, there's more information that's coming out, and responding that information and responding to the state restrictions is how we'll make our decisions going forward. And so I can't predict what will happen. What I am encouraged by at La Jolla Music Society is that the organization has already proven that it can turn on a dime and it can think creatively. And I attended all of the Summerfest performances virally, sitting in front of my computer, and I was impressed with the quality of work being done. And I know that the staff learned a lot through that. And I think La Jolla Music Society probably has a leg up on a lot of organizations to get through the next part of this. What I'm very excited about is I think it gives us a chance to really regroup and hit the ground running when we can. And I'm excited about that first concert when we can all be together. It'll be like old home week, I'm sure, in the lobby.
Absolutely. So I know that we'll have some follow-up conversations where these will be not pre-recorded, but live, where we could have interaction and take questions from our patrons. So I'm curious, as we wrap up this initial conversation today, what is something really interesting about you that people don't know? And let's see, we'll answer that first, and then I'll ask the follow-up question.
Oh, I don't know. Well, I like to bike. I'm a cyclist. My longest bike ride was 202 miles in one day, so there's a little tidbit. So anybody who's out there likes to cycle, I out on the roads most weekends. So that's a fun thing. Um, you know, I love to play the piano.
You practice every day,
I
right? Every day.
I
Yeah.
do. I can't claim to be really that good, but I play for me. And I love it. I'm very inspired by it. I think I'm a better pianist as an adult than I was as a kid, probably because I have more patience and I think I understand myself better.
So what
But
classical repertoire are you working on? I know you're working on Meatloaf, but do you have any
yeah,
classical rep that
right.
you have in your
Uh,
wheelhouse?
there's Yeah, so there's a Brahms
Mhm,
intermezzo that I really love. I think it's
mhm.
118, 118 number two, something like that. There is a set of variations by Beethoven that he wrote on a Pice Yellow song that I've been working on that feels pretty good. There's a handful of things that, you know, not the hard stuff. Not the it actually at any time I sit down, I
I
appreciate
was gonna
Enon
say
even
maybe
more.
some for piano hand.
No, 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 no.
Well, all right, we'll
No.
see. We'll see. Maybe we can convince you. And I guess last but not least, who inspires you? And who do you look to when you're looking at, making key decisions and
You know, I am inspired by people who are transparent, honest, and have a generosity of spirit, who sort of an appreciation for other people and a compassion.
Mhm.
Um, you know, some of the giants, I suppose, that I think about, Robert Shaw,
Mhm.
I sang with him for
Oh,
5
wow.
years. And he was a fascinating person in the way that he approached us as people in the chorus. And I think one of his great achievements was how he thought of um, human capacity as a group, as a group activity, and sort of who we are as people and how that's reflected in the music.
Mhm.
That's almost more important to me and more interesting to me than the music itself.
Mhm.
There are a lot of people who inspire me. I think really trailblazers and you know in inspirational
Mhm.
thinkers. But at the end of the day, I think it has to be about how we connect with each other as people and care about each other because we're all in this together.
Well, I have to say that everyone that has talked to me about this appointment and about you has said those exact same words when describing you and how lucky we are to have you working with us because you exemplify all of those characteristics. So I'm so grateful that you took some time today for us to have this initial chat. And I know that this only scratched the surface, and there's so much that we have yet to talk about. And I look forward to speaking with you again and seeing you probably through Zoom when
Right.
you start. But
That's
one of these
right.
days we'll be back in the office. So thank you
Yeah.
again, Todd. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, and actually, as you pointed out, I would really love to do some of these that are
Mhm.
interactive with supporters of the Music Society and people who attend our concerts. And I think accessibility to us as leaders of the organization is critical. And so I'll look forward to doing that and look forward to seeing you and the team, hopefully in person at some point soon, but certainly when I get to San
Absolutely.
Diego and continue through online virtual
Well, thank you
meetings.
so much. Have a great rest of the day.
All right.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.